and a beautiful day to all my wonderful friends out there. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel and enjoying the lessons of A Course in Miracles with me. Today we are on lesson number 131, 131. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. And this is a longer read today, so get yourself comfortable and we'll see what comes up during the reading. I'll share with you a little about my meditation after I did the lesson this morning, and hopefully looking forward to hearing from you about any awarenesses or awakenings or anything that's coming through for you in your journey with the Course. All right, here we go. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Failure is all about you while you seek for goals that cannot be achieved. You look for permanence in the impermanent, for love where there is none, for safety in the midst of danger, immortality within the darkness of the dream of death. Who could succeed where contradiction is the setting of his searching and the place to which he comes to find stability? Goals that are meaningless are not attained. There is no way to reach them, for the means by which you strive for them are meaningless as they are. Who can use such senseless means and hope through them to gain in anything? Where can they lead? And what could they achieve that offers any hope of being real? Pursuit of the imagined leads to death because it is the search for nothingness, and while you seek for life, you ask for death. You look for safety and security, while in your heart, you pray for danger and protection for the little dream you made. Yet searching is inevitable here. For this you came, and you will surely do the thing you came for. But the world cannot dictate the goal for which you search, unless you give it the power to do so. Otherwise, you still are free to choose a goal that lies beyond the world and every worldly thought, and one that comes to you from an idea relinquished yet remembered, old yet new, an echo of a heritage forgot, yet holding everything you really want. Be glad that search you must. Be glad as well to learn you search for heaven and must find the goal you really want. No one can fail to want this goal and reach it in the end. God's Son cannot seek vainly, though he try to force delay, deceive himself and think that it is hell he seeks. When he is wrong, he finds correction. When he wanders off, he is led back to his appointed task. No one remains in hell, for no one can abandon his Creator, nor affect his perfect, timeless, and unchanging love. You will find heaven. Everything you seek, but this will fall away. Yet not because it has been taken from you. It will go because you do not want it. You will reach the goal you really want as certainly as God created you in sinlessness. Why wait for heaven? It is here today. Time is the great illusion. It is past or in the future. Time is the great illusion. It is past or in the future. Yet this cannot be, if it is where God wills his Son to be. How could the will of God be in the past or yet to happen? What he wills is now, without a past and wholly futureless. It is as far removed from time as is a tiny candle from a distant star, or what you chose from what you really want. Heaven remains your one alternative to this strange world you made and all its ways, its shifting patterns and uncertain goals, its painful pleasures and its tragic joys. God made no contradictions. What denies its own existence and attacks itself is not of him. He did not make two minds, with heaven as the glad effect of one, and earth the other's sorry outcome, which is heaven's opposite in every way. Earth is heaven's opposite in every way. I think that is probably the most important line in this lesson, to let that settle in, but more on that later. God does not suffer conflict. nor is his creation split in two. How could it be his son could be in hell when God himself established him in heaven? Could he lose what the eternal will has given him to be his home forever? Let us not try longer to impose an alien will upon God's single purpose. He is here because he wills to be, and what he wills is present now, beyond the reach of time. Today we will not choose a paradox in place of truth. How could the Son of God make time to take away the will of God? He thus denies himself and contradicts what has no opposite. He thinks he made a hell opposing heaven and believes that he abides in what does not exist, while heaven is the place he cannot find. Leave foolish thoughts like these behind today and turn your mind to true ideas instead. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, and it is the truth we seek to reach today. We will devote 10 minutes to this goal 3 times today, and we will ask to see the rising of the real world to replace the foolish images that we hold dear, with true ideas arising in the place of thoughts that have no meaning, no effect, and neither source nor substance in the truth. This we acknowledge as we start upon our practice periods. Begin with this. I ask to see a different world and think a different kind of thought from those I made. The world I seek, I did not make alone. The thoughts I want to think are not my own. For several minutes, watch your mind and see, although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. Okay, for several minutes, watch your mind and see, although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. So see this world first, this external awakened eyes world. Review the thoughts as well, which are compatible with such a world and which you think are true. Then let them go and sink below them to the holy place where they can enter not. There is a door beneath them in your mind which you could not completely lock to hide what lies beyond. So again, we're traveling down. It's this descending path. And it seems a little bit contradictory because in our spiritual circles, we hear about this thing called ascension, which means going up, right? Ascending. But in order to do that, we need to descend down beneath all of the confusing beliefs that we have, the laws that we made that we're living by. That's all kind of at this one level of our being. But as we go down to the core, down to the center of the hearth of our being, the heart of God, it's kind of like you have to dig to discover it. It's an excavation rather than this sort of, bypassing, I just want to let it go and rise kind of a thought. It doesn't work that way. You do have to take yourself down to see exactly what it is that you've created here and then know that there's something beneath it. It's kind of like a mind trick in a way, but it makes sense. Okay, seek for that door and find it. But before you try to open it, remind yourself, no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. And it is this request you make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued now, nor sought. Nothing before this door you really want, and only what lies past it do you seek. Put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open with your one intent to go beyond it. Angels light the way so that all darkness vanishes, and you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things you see. A tiny moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in the light reflects the truth you knew and did not quite forget in wandering away in dreams. You cannot fail today. These walks with you, the Spirit heaven sent you, that you might approach this door someday and through his aid slip effortlessly past it to the light. Today, that day has come. Today, God keeps his ancient promise to his holy Son, as does his Son remember his to him. This is a day of gladness, for we come to the appointed time and place where you will find the goal of all your searching here, and all the seeking of the world, which end together as you pass beyond the door. Remember often today should be a time of special gladness, and refrain from dismal thoughts and meaningless laments. Salvation's time has come. Today is set by heaven itself to be a time of grace for you and for the world. If you forget this happy fact, remind yourself with this: today I seek and find all that I want. My single purpose offers it to me. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. So as I got into the meditation with this one today, I imagined myself kind of descending down into a space of consciousness, I guess. And I passed through this layer of what just kind of felt like confusion, where essentially in this incarnation as Sherry, I've created a world around me that is literally built upon and held up by my beliefs. We believe beliefs so much. And I have these beliefs in part because of my upbringing and conditioning, all the things that influence us, as you already know, your family, your school, your culture, the government's influence on the people, your belief system, your religion, if you practice anything. So many things, form our understanding of the world when we're young, and then as we grow, we find other things to attach ourselves to, and they become laws in our lives. So of course, as I was going through the meditation, I thought about all the times that I've been confused and just wrong, and then I also looked at the things that I'm attached to and have been attached to, like for instance, my dog who's now passed over, my father who's now passed over. And I started thinking like, oh yeah, okay, so part of the reason why we come here is to experience a range of emotion, connections, attachments, whatever they end up being. But it's that ultimate knowing that this is temporary, and we're all going, the bodies of all of us are going to die. And so the sooner that we can wrap our mind around doing our practices, grounding and centering ourselves, and not being afraid of inevitable things like this body is going to lay down and not get up one day, as does everyone else's body, including our pets and everything else, our plants, all of it. We become less attached, and you can start to, there's a little bit of space in between all those anxieties and fears about the coming incidents in your life that you may not be able to handle, or the regrets of whatever happened in the past that you can't forgive yourself for. So in this meditation, you can actually go down beneath all of that. And this image of the door came to mind. And when I pushed open the door, it looked like a party. And it was like everyone that I knew was there. It was a party for me, but it was also a party for everyone. And there was so much happiness and so much joy and just bliss in the reunion. And we were laughing and teasing each other. People that I was like enemies with in this incarnation, all of a sudden we're joking and we're like hand slapping, like, oh my gosh, remember when you said this and I did this and that happened? That was crazy. It was so funny. So it's like we wake up to the truth. We get it. We're like, oh my gosh, that's why we were there. So, and I intend to do a couple more meditations with this one today, and I imagine it'll take me deeper, maybe in a particular area where I have to do some work or whatever. But it was just this idea that we all already know that this thing is a big setup. It's all temporary, and that the less that we can become attached to people and our belongings and our location, our everything that's in our comfort zone, the less attached that we can be to those things, and the less aversion we can have to things that we think we may not like or what make us uncomfortable, it helps us grow into this more neutral being who can move through this incarnation carrying the wisdom of the ages, feeling all the sensations of, what happens in the present, whatever you're faced with, because you're going to get more challenges. I had an interesting challenge yesterday with a neighbor here, and not to get into too much detail, but it's interesting how there was an event that came up that looked like there was some kind of like jealousy on the surface, or something like a lack of trust or something like that. But beneath were these stories that each one of us had from just the little being inside of us that's still learning. And that's really what we all are. We might look like adults and grown-ups and everything, and we're all, walking around like we know what we're doing, but we're just kids exploring this planet and playing around in roles and, living out these beliefs that we eventually realize are unnecessary, probably don't serve us, definitely not true, and something we won't care about whatsoever once we open that door to the heaven party that is waiting for all of us. So yeah, this was a great lesson to kind of bring me back down into that realization and memory that this is temporary. This whole thing is temporary. But that doesn't mean that you don't treat things delicately and passionately. It doesn't mean you don't invest yourself into relationships and stylize your relationships and your experiences exactly the way that you want them because you want to express love, or you want things to be a certain way, or it shouldn't impact your day-to-day experiences and your intentions to be connected to others. It doesn't mean like just let it all go because it doesn't matter, but it is important to start thinking about things like, eventually we're all going to leave, and our bodies are going to die, and our spirit is going to return. We're going to go to that party, right? And I think it will help with anything that's going on. Maybe you will deal with something for like a whole day or like a whole week, but you'll start to let things go quicker and easier, and you'll definitely take less things personally because you'll remember, oh yeah, I'm just a little kid pretending to be a grown-up in this temporary fake world experience that I don't quite understand, and that person is too. Letting other people off the hook is huge because then you don't have that weight to carry, right? And I also think this whole new belief system about this is temporary and I'm going to be okay and I'm going to have my heaven party one day, it helps me with any concerns I have about the body and kind of a obsession that we can all have about our health in this age of like so much information and so many, things you can buy, because our world is a marketplace. And so every product maker has an agenda to get you to buy their products because you're going to have a shittier life if you don't. All that stuff factors into having a more easeful experience when you're not so worried about what might happen to your body or what you're missing and you better replace it, because otherwise, if you don't, what happens? Pain, suffering, and death. Well, folks, it's coming anyway. And maybe it won't be too terrible, but all we know for sure is it's temporary. And again, all the near-death experiences reiterate this occurrence where you're in some kind of traumatic event and the spirit lifts out and you're no longer connected to any of that. And you start moving out of that scenario. And it doesn't seem like you're really controlling that, which is another good thing to remember, that God is actually in control and we don't have to exert so much energy to correct and control and to get things to be our way, because we really don't know what is in our best interest. All right, so that's a lot today. I hope you enjoy your meditations and that you get some good insight and that you're able to release and let go of things that have been weighing you down, and that you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to enjoy your life more with a lighter heart, a more forgiving approach to all people and situations, and a more open heart to everything. Childlike curiosity, wonderment, taking it all in, absorbing everything that's good, everything that seems it's of God, and watch all those other things begin to fall away out of your field of vision and out of your mind. Lots of love to you. Have a great day, and I'll see you back here again on the next video.